Hello, everybody. We don't have much of a plan for today. I do know that I do want to talk about the goddess Mott because she's been coming in very strongly lately, and her energy is super important for, I guess, the period of where we're at right now, ascension wise, because a lot of the energies I channel are going to be related to the goddess, and that includes our relationship with the goddess Mott. But I am going to pull a card, and we're going to bring some more goddess energy in here just to help get us going. So currently I am on my moon, and so what I'm going to do is utilize those energies of, releasing. And I've been reading the Red Tent, so I think that I'm kind of in that mindset as well. And if you've read that book, the goddess Ashura is mentioned quite often, and she is the queen of heaven. I have a video that you can watch about the goddess Ashura and how she is the queen of heaven, and that she was returning to Israel, and that we were awaiting her return. We were holding the fort. We were the trees that were her children. And so bringing that energy in here as well, connecting with some of that wisdom within us. We're gonna go ahead and call in a little bit more goddess energy. I've been wanting to work with cards lately. It's so funny because I felt like for a while I was like, I don't really want to work with cards so much anymore. I just didn't feel as connected to them, and I've been wanting them again. It's like kind of a full circle moment for me. Just utilizing that tool just to be reminded of the different goddess that exists within the world, because the goddess is so present, and that's just been my focus lately. Like I said before, I do love the energy of the father, but I do call in the mother quite often. um, Especially in moments like this when I'm bleeding. So if you are a woman who is currently on her cycle right now, welcome to the Starlight Haven that is going to transform in this moment into a red tent. Just for this video, we're gonna connect to each other, and if you're not on your cycle, that's okay. We have a couple goddesses here. Teresa of Avila. We have this card right here showing up. Our Lady of the Interior Life. I trust the answers I find within me, and I know that the presence of love is real. And then we also have Sarada Devi, the Divine Mother. Unconditional love exists within me. The presence of love is the absence of judgment. Okay, and so we are also going to be talking about the goddess Mott, and so I'm just going to go ahead and call her in. I don't have anything prepared. I just want to allow this to be a free-flowing channel to almost in a way document this for myself, connect myself back into my own inner wisdom that comes with shedding, and embrace that for myself, call the sisters in to also connect with that energy, calling in reverence for your body, awakening the memories of the tent that exists within all of us collectively, calling in the memory of the temples of Lemuria, and feeling the energy of Telos coming in. And so with those energies here, we're just gonna go ahead and talk about some of the ancient wisdom that exists here within the shedding, and how that plays into the volcano network and our connection to Mott. And I've been feeling her also within a temple that I've been accessing, that I accessed yesterday, that was part of this restorative memory of union as being the bride of Christ and what that means for us as children of God, and what the being the bride of Christ means is not in a literal sense of like I'm getting married to Jesus Christ or anything like that, but it means that we are in union with ourselves. It is a covenant, a sacred covenant that is made between the bride and the groom, the inner world, the feminine and the masculine that exists within us, and the memory of the divine justice that comes with the goddess Mot, which she really represented within us. And I know this is going to be like a video diary, to be honest. I don't even know who this will call to, but I went through a really intense spiritual awakening. And when I woke up, it wasn't just like this random, like, oh, just like, I'm gonna start accessing my spiritual gifts and stuff like that. It just kind of hit me head on during Lionsgate. And during that time, I was having a lot of lucid dreaming experiences, a lot of astral experiences, and one of my first experiences with the was with the god, the Egyptian god Thoth, and I had a lot of trauma from that experience, because I was very lucid for it, but I couldn't really get myself to, leave the experience either. It wasn't happening that way. I felt kind of stuck in there, and I was in this underground tunnel with like a little girl Toth and this like octopus, and I was walking through this underground network or whatever with this supposed Toth, right? And it was a holographic form of the god. It wasn't like I could see that it was a hologram. It was very clear to me. And in that time, it was telling me the things I could and could not do. Like, for example, it was like, you can't be a medium, but you can be this. And because I wasn't strong in myself at the time, I was like, oh, these are the things that I'm not supposed to be doing and I am supposed to be doing. As I got stronger in myself, in my oracular authority, I realized that I was not to be told what I could and could not do, that came from within me and my knowingness of myself. And so it kind of jump started me on this journey of like, oh, like, here I am, this is who I am, and this is who I'm supposed to be, versus this is what, some spiritual authority is telling me that I can and cannot be, versus like what also the world, the society will tell me what I can and cannot be, because a lot of our systems are built on this history that we have with Toth. And that's kind of where my experience came in with you know, Ashanadine and the Ascension Glossary and with by Lisa Renee. And so some of this stuff, I felt a lot of truth within it, but I also felt a lot of drama. And I was like a lot of different groups pitted against each other, a lot of puritanical information that was being shared within the contents of those things, even though we are like kind of, we separate from these like different religious belief systems, but like they replicate themselves through different storytelling and narrative. Even when you're like, you ascend and you have awareness of a deeper spiritual nature, it's like you look at this stuff and you're like, well, is this much different from what I've been learning in the past through like a Catholic school upbringing? um And a lot of this was about lineage and different lineages pitted against each other. And especially with the feminine, that can be quite difficult to witness because we have, supposedly this like solar feminine lineage versus this feminine lineage where these two aspects of femininity, which was the dark goddess versus the light, which me personally, I saw a lot of the dark goddess in myself. And I knew that these were things that I had to witness within me. And they weren't things that were bad, right? But they were things that I had to look at as like, okay, so there's these spiritual teachers that I trust that are telling me these things. And I'm like, oh, well, then I don't want to be that. Even though that was something that was inherently within me because I am of this world, right? I have experienced oppression. I have, as a woman, and any woman who has been in this on this planet to some degree has experienced this, whether it's, being told what are what to do with your body or what not to do with your body. Um, like our namesake as a matriarchy, and that doesn't remove any in the patriarchy itself in its healed state, but there is a balance there, right? And so us as women, we've kind of had that taken away from us, and so we're in a process of restoring that. And the restorative process is difficult to do when we are told through different storytelling what is good and what's not good. Part of our journey is witnessing the dark mother. Part of our journey is, looking at the dark mother within ourselves and why she's here in the first place. And, to me, a good example of this is, Eve versus Lilith, and this idea of like, these were both women who defied God, right? One was turned into basically a demon in different stories. She represents the dark feminine, right? She was demonized in these stories. In some of them, she like eats children. And, Eve repented in her own way, right? And she was just lived to shame. And so one got turned into a demon while the other one was shamed for having knowledge and wisdom. To me, they're both the same. Lilith and Eve, to me, are not different from each other. They are the same woman. But we had to create a division of two sides in order for us to basically, like, hey, well, if you feel shame and you feel guilt for what you did, you can be forgiven, right? Just feel ashamed of yourself. And there's deep shame within being a woman from Eve, supposedly, right? That creation story. And then if you don't, then you are a demon. And, there's its own challenges with that whole narrative of like being inherently evil. And so they both experience that same energy, and they both carry Eden within them. They both carry a desire for wisdom and equality, knowledge, um, and the desire to nourish life, create life, bear life, not consume it. Right? So these narratives and storytellings are really interesting because we have separated these two women from one another. And it's the same thing that I see within some of these spiritual communities where it's like we're separating different lineages from each other. We separate humanity from each other. And we say things like, that that some people will make it we're splitting off into two timelines, but in reality, like, do you feel comfortable ascending and leaving humanity behind if all of our brothers and sisters aren't aware and awake and actually free? It's like the separation narrative is really strong, even in communities that are preaching unity. And so, as I find unity within myself through looking at the parts and pieces that I've been told to be ashamed of, which I would normally shut down because they're quote unquote bad, I get to look at the parts and pieces of humanity that hold a lot of wisdom. They hold a lot of memory of how we move forward. And that's why, here at the Starlight Haven, we're always promoting to tell your own story. Look at all of the things presented in front of you, take what resonates and leave what doesn't, right? We hear it all the time, but that also comes with a bunch of like, feel bad for believing opposite of somebody else, or like, not taking everything on that people say is real. And yeah, so looking at these parts of ourselves actually creates a lot of balance within us. It's what helps restore us. And yeah. And so I think that like I look at the cards that came up. I trust the answers I find within me. I know the presence of love is real. It's like I'll give a second to read that, but to feel that transmission of like her having her own feather in her hand, of being an apostle of our own truth, of marrying wisdom within ourselves. And it makes me a little emotional because it's like so hitting me right now to a degree that I need. I need this restorative wisdom within myself. I need to know that as I write my own story, I'm creating a sacred marriage within myself that does not deplete me. It nourishes me. And then we have the Divine Mother. Unconditional love exists within me. The presence of love is the absence of judgment. We do not judge ourselves or others for what they believe because we know that our story is one of wholeness. And so when we look at other people, we look at them with wholeness. This is Mott. This is the energy of the volcanoes. This is fire. It's restore. It's like it's fire. It's restoration. Um, it is where we long to be, and so we don't separate ourselves from the sun or the moon. We see ourselves reflected in these states of being, and we arrive at the moon, we arrive at the sun in a way that is whole and repaired instead of fearing everything that we see around us that is natural, that can feel natural within us. And yeah, so I've been thinking about that a lot as I've been working on healing some of the parts of myself that are deeply fragmented from my early awakening because of my fear of punishment for being who I am as a woman, for being an oracle, for having these gifts within me, and knowing that a lot of times the memory that is stored within the body is one of punishment, one of fear that I will be harmed for what is naturally occurring within me. And our cycle, our moon cycle that occurs within our body, is us connecting to that and repairing that is justice for women. It is our rebuilding of Mott's temple. So we are at a point, and I had this download a couple years ago, and there was this message about the goddess Mott's temple being restored. And I thought in my mind, I was like, her temple is in ruins. And so I thought that was like a literal thing. And then I realized that the temple of Mott is what exists within us. And it's within our wombs, but it's also within our solar plexus. And it is the temple that awakens within us. It is a temple that brings us access to the halls of Amenti without narrative attached to it, without fear or dismantling of the self, with wholeness, being able to be whole in accessing the halls of Amenti. And within the halls of Amenti, there are gems here that teach us about our own oracular wisdom, and we preserved it here in the solar plexus. And it's awakening now. And so there's a lot of solar plexus activation that is happening with the reawakening of the halls of Amenti in the solar plexus. And many of us who are holding on to these nemesis narratives of this does not mean that bad things did not happen, but a lot of these nemesis narratives that we hold on to put us back into this loop of savior, savior, victim, victimizer, martyrdom, that there is no wholeness within us, that we have, or others, that we have to be the savior. And the truth is that when we honor ourselves and everyone else in their wholeness, we are able to ignite the halls of Amenti within our solar plexus without the distorted information of victim victimizer. And so a lot of this has been asking me to reignite the experience that I had had when I first woke up, and the later reinforcing narratives that continued to add on to that fear that I had, and dismantle that fear within myself to break it down to its most purest form so that it can be the medicine that I needed. And, this isn't solely connected to Toth necessarily, right? Like, we can look at these different narratives throughout history and see in time where we had victim victimizer information, where we were at war, where there was mass extinction timelines happening. But we also have to make space for the healing of it as well by looking at the parts of us that we feel like we have lost because of these things, and know that they're there for us to recollect and to restore. And part of that memory, I think, is our moon cycles and our shedding and our connection to the moon and the goddess and her nourishment, the energy of the mother. And so a lot of my work lately has been related to restoring the mother and our relationship to her. And I feel like this work will be happening until Samhain. And we will be doing a deep dive into that until that time, until that period is over. And Samhain is where summer is being put to rest. We're getting ready to be in the restorative space of winter. And so we're going to be starting to connect into that energy. And our true moon lineages, without the distortion and the shame, will be coming up to unite us again with the moon. And this is for women who have been experiencing a disconnection from her. And that is not all women. I've been in both spaces of community where women have danced under the light of the moon, who have offered themselves to her every cycle. And that has been very beautiful as well to witness. And I've also been on the other side where there was a lot of negative information coming in about the moon being evil, connected to the dark mother. And so, like, you see what I mean? The separation of women, like, we are here to become united as one again. And there's different things that are happening. We are feeling these different triggers and these different energies. And one that has been really present with women for a very long time is, within each other, because of this repression, is the energy of jealousy, of envy, And we have to remember that this is something I said in my last video, but part of our gift from the Elohim is that we have emotion, and our emotions are a gift, and our accessing of them is a gift. And so jealousy is one of those emotions that is a really great gift for us because we are able to tune into those energies and work with them and realize that without the shame, jealousy is really just a way to show us where we want to come back online, where we want to have reverence for ourselves. Our potential is shown to us through our jealousy. So if we have a certain feeling towards certain women, we can allow that feeling to bring us closer to them, to help restore our own template by seeing a mirror of our own potential in front of us. And that to me is a lot more rewarding than allowing it to stagnate us and continue to separate us further from other women when we are really being asked to work in conjunction with one another and to access the restorative ability within our womb to heal and nurture our hormones in this way, because we are also accessing these beautiful luminescent light blue gorgeous pools of water that contain healing for our hormone health on a collective level. We are accessing that together as a network, and we are helping each other do that um, over and over again through our own oracular abilities that intertwine with each other's and work together in that way in a very boundaried, beautiful, non codependent way. And yeah, we are here in this moment, connecting back into that wisdom that exists here within the womb. And I'm feeling the energy of saffron coming in. And I'm thinking about the color and how rare and beautiful it is. And I'm allowing that energy to come in and support us in its own way. And this is shamanic medicine for us, allowing that to come in and breathe life into our bodies. And yeah, I'm seeding the wisdom of these temples into the collective of women who are accessing this video at any time in space to recollect that wisdom of inner marriage between the masculine and feminine Christ, um, witnessing you and your marriage. And yeah, it's like there's this energy of rehydrating the womb and connecting the womb to the neural pathways, allowing it to reach the bloodstream as well. Feeling the hydration coming back to the body, connecting into that pool, that blue luminescent pool, feeling the energy of the mermaids coming in, and they're singing this melody of Telos, of Sirius, reconnecting into the memory of I'm getting emotional again, being a storyteller, of the relationship between mother and child, bridging the stories to one another, these pure organic stories of our experiences. And this is something that really touched me in the book The Red Tent, as I've been reading it, is the passing down of stories that happen in that tent. And I'm feeling that energy of the storyteller coming in and feeling this singing your light. There's a song by Morrissey called Sing Your Life. And I feel like that song is so relevant for this moment in time for any Smiths fans, Morrissey fans. Sing your life, tell your story, sing your song. bring back your memories. And that is our tool for ascension. That's a big tool for our ascension, is bringing back our memories and singing our song. This is our siren song, the song of our life. And I feel as we do this, Pachamama records these in her own memory bank. And as generations live on this land, that memory is stored for them to also receive. Our memories live on over and over again through our siren song. And we will have memories coming up of spells too. But it is here that I'm feeling a lot from Glastonbury coming in. But what we're going to do is when those spells come up, we utilize the shedding of our womb, allow those stories and those spells to shed using the oracular abilities that exist within the womb temple, allowing them to leave the body through our blood. And a lot of these stories are related to feeling weak, being told that you are weak or insufficient or not enough or maybe too much, right? All of these things that are equated to weakness. So our wombs are doing a big job of essentially being pest control for our memories, for our bodies. And so a lot of restorative properties are coming in through that, and that is also connected to the snake and its ability to shed the skin. The snake as the wisdom keeper, as the memory keeper, that the snake sheds things that no longer serve it, the old dead skin that no longer fits it, but it does remember parts that are important to its growth because it helps it build that new skin, and that's us at this moment in time as we go through our shedding. And that brings us in with the goddess Pele, and we are collectively as women going through this process of healing a very deep abandonment wound related to the cosmic mother and father, healing that. And the goddess Pele is supporting in this healing. And part of this healing is the need for rest, anchoring that in for us. And we are accessing the recorded memory of this information within Pele connected to these shells. And this doesn't come with a payment. Like there was a message here about tolls having to be paid, and that is not the case here. Here we find power in the goddess Pele, messenger of the great sacred rage that exists within women. She helps us flower by fertilizing us because her lava, the rock, it's nurturing. It has nutrients for us through the fire and the lava, releasing these energies of needing to mask ourselves, allowing ourselves to be playful, releasing needing to be dominant. She holds the energy of prayers for humanity. Okay, and we have Mirabai, the saint of true freedom. Love is what sets me free. I am married to my own soul. And here is where the divine marriage comes in. If we are the Christed feminine, then we are married to the energy of the Christ, right? And what that means is our union, our love for ourselves. And that is a covenant that we made. We made that covenant when we came into this world. And then we also, right next to her, oh man, Amaterasu? I might have said this wrong. That's okay. The goddess of light. We are all sacred mirrors reflecting back the same light. And this card comes with a lot of honesty with ourselves about when we look at other people's light, right? This is the energy of that jealousy that we are told to be ashamed of when we are seeing other people's light and witnessing their light, right? We witness that jealousy is really us wanting to restore our story, our body, and our union within ourselves. And we are using other people as a light or a reflection of that light to see ourselves within them. Okay. And we are coming back into prosperity. And you will see a lot of different interesting timeline stuff. Be in the present with yourself right now. Be with your body. Come back to this when you need to have restoration, when you want to connect back into your own cycle of shedding, of birth. Come back to this video and realign to the presence of the body. Okay. And that's all I have for you guys today. I'm sending you so much love.